You know that one person, the one who only calls when they need something? They talk endlessly, unloading their problems, but never ask how you're doing. They don't pause long enough for you to get a word in. Then, just like that, they say, "Okay, bye," and hang up. Ever wonder if that's how God feels when we pray? If you're anything like me, prayer can sometimes feel off. It falls into one of four categories: a dry and lifeless, like a stale piece of toast; the monotonous repeat, like a scratched record stuck in a loop; a transactional moment, as if God's some cosmic vending machine; or worst of all, an annoying chore, like vacuuming when it's 1,000 degrees outside. And when prayer feels like that, it's no wonder we stop. But here's the thing. When we stop praying, it's like neglecting a plant. No water, no life. Our faith wilts. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if prayer wasn't just a routine, but a connection? A powerful, life-giving exchange between your heart and God's. That's what I want to share with you. Simple thoughts and techniques that have helped me breathe new life into my conversations with God. This isn't about rigid formulas or lofty definitions. Prayer is too deep and intimate to be boxed into words. Instead, picture this. Prayer is like two hearts, yours and God's, pouring into one another until they become one. That's where we're headed. So, if you've ever felt stuck in your prayer life, or even unsure where to start, take a deep breath. We're about to step into something transformative, something real. Let's talk about how to talk to God, not at Him, but with Him. What is prayer? I could give you a fancy definition of prayer, but honestly, words alone can't capture what prayer really is. So instead, let me paint a picture. Imagine this. Prayer is the pouring out of one heart into another, yours into God's and God's into yours, until the two become one. That's it. It's not complicated. It's not about saying the right words or performing perfectly. It's about connection. Think of it this way. When you pour your heart out to God, He listens, not just to your words, but to the deepest whispers of your soul. And when you're still and open, you can feel His heart pouring into yours. It's mutual, it's intimate, and it's life-changing. To make prayer truly come alive, there are three key ingredients. Without them, your prayer life may feel incomplete or even fall apart. These three ingredients are easy to remember: presence, heart, and trust. Miss any one of these, and your prayer risks losing its depth and power. Let's break them down. Presence. Have you ever been in a room, alone, when someone else quietly walks in? Even if you don't see them, you sense they're there. That awareness of another's presence is the foundation of prayer. Before you say a word, pause and recognize this. God is here. He's with you, closer than your own breath. Prayer begins with acknowledging this truth, not as a feeling, but as a reality. Without this awareness, we're just talking to ourselves in the dark. So before anything else, take a moment to simply be in His presence. Let it settle over you like a quiet assurance. I am not alone. Heart. Here's the most profound truth about prayer. God hears your heart, not your words. This means you don't have to worry about saying the right thing. You don't need perfect phrasing or eloquence. What matters is that you come to Him honestly, with whatever's in your heart, your fears, your joys, your struggles, and even your silence. And it works both ways. To truly talk with God, we need to learn to listen to His heart, too. His voice isn't always loud or dramatic. It's often found in the gentle nudges, the quiet clarity, the peaceful aha moments in your soul. Speaking heart to heart with God is the language of prayer. It's raw, it's real, and it's where transformation happens. Trust. Picture an old-fashioned diving suit. The diver at the bottom of the ocean is completely dependent on the person above, who pumps air down to him. If the diver wants to surface, he tugs the rope and trusts the person above will pull him up. Now imagine your life as the diver's, and God as the one above. Every breath, every step, every need. You entrust it all to Him. not just in the big moments, but in the smallest details, even your next breath. But here's the beauty. The one you're trusting isn't just anyone. He's the creator of the universe, the one who knows every sparrow and counts every hair on your head. He's not distant. He sees you, loves you, and cares deeply about every part of your life. Trusting God is a leap, but it's one worth taking. Because the hands you're entrusting your life to are the safest hands there are. With presence, heart, and trust as your foundation, prayer stops being a chore or a formula and becomes an encounter, a meeting place where you and God truly connect. Preparation for prayer. Before we dive into prayer, it's important to prepare ourselves, just as you wouldn't walk into a meeting with someone important without first being ready. We're entering the presence of God, and that requires a bit of focus and intention. Here's a truth I've learned. The degree to which I make myself present to God is the degree to which He will make Himself present to me. Let that sink in. If I come to prayer distracted, hurried, or half-hearted, that's the kind of encounter I'll have. But when I intentionally slow down, clear my mind, and prepare my heart, I open the door for a deep connection, creating the space. To begin, find a quiet, calm space, away from the noise, away from the distractions. This is your sacred time, so treat it as such. Whether it's a corner in your home or a quiet park bench, create an environment where you can focus solely on God. Some people find it helpful to sit in darkness or dim light, as it helps them quiet their mind. Others prefer a spot in nature, something that reminds them of God's beauty and presence. Personally, I like to sit with my palms open, ready to receive. It's a posture that reflects my heart, open, willing, and eager to connect. My body becomes a symbol of my soul, ready to receive from God. Inner room, your heart. Close the doors to everything else in your mind. The worries, the plans, the to-do lists. Imagine you're stepping into a secret place, your inner room. This is where you meet God. Your heart is the threshold. This might seem simple, but it's incredibly important. We often struggle to silence the external noise, but God doesn't want us to rush in and out. He wants us to slow down, to be present, to focus on nothing but Him. A simple distress technique. Let's take a moment to clear the clutter in your mind. Focus on everything that's weighing on you. The stress, the worry, the noise. Picture it as a swirling red smoke gathering in your chest. With each breath, imagine releasing that smoke, exhaling it all out, letting go of the tension and heaviness. With each breath, let your mind become quieter, your heart lighter. As you exhale, picture the room around you, your body, the chair, even the space fading away. Imagine everything vanishing until there's nothing left but you and God, just your heart in the presence of His. Now, invite Him in. This isn't about feelings. It's about knowing He's there, trusting that He's with you, even when you can't feel Him physically. It's a quiet knowing. It's trust. The silent space. And now, let's sit in silence together. Not with the need to say anything, but with the willingness to just be. This is the deepest form of prayer. It's not about words. It's not about asking or requesting anything. It's simply resting in His presence, allowing His love and peace to fill every part of you. If you feel compelled to speak, let it flow naturally. But if nothing comes, that's okay. Silence is powerful, and in that silence, you're still communing with God. Let's pause here before we dive deeper into how to actually pray. Take this time to center yourself, to prepare, and to make space for God to move. Now, let's get practical. If you've made the space and taken the time to prepare, you're ready to dive into the actual act of prayer. Sometimes, we don't know where to begin, and that's okay. Here's a simple structure to guide you. Start with apology. Begin by acknowledging your heart's condition. Is there anything that's been weighing on you? Any areas where you feel you've fallen short? This part is about honesty, facing the parts of you that may need healing or transformation. It's not about condemning yourself, but about opening up the spaces that need healing. Ask God to reveal what's hidden in your heart. You can begin like this: Lord, I'm sorry for, and let it flow from there. Be genuine in seeking forgiveness and trust that God's grace is already at work. He's the Father running to meet you, not the one waiting to scold you. Next, expand your prayers to include others. Remember, we're all in this together, struggling in our own ways. Think of those who are suffering, those who need hope, healing, and peace. Pray for the sick, the brokenhearted, the lost, and the lonely. Pray for the world, the balance of good and evil, the healing of nations, and the restoration of relationships. This isn't just about words. It's about believing that your prayers have the power to move heaven and earth. And you don't need to have it all figured out. Just speak from your heart, trusting that God hears you and that He will act on behalf of those in need. Pray for yourself. Now, let's turn inward. Jesus Himself invites us to bring our fears, our desires, our needs, and our sorrows to Him. He says, "Tell me your fears as simply as you can. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you want." This is the part of prayer where we pour out everything. Everything we're afraid of, everything we long for, everything we hope for. God is a safe space for all of it. Ask Him to show you what you truly need. Sometimes we get wrapped up in material desires, but the deeper need is often spiritual. Ask God to reveal your heart's true desires and to guide you to what will fulfill your soul. And remember, once you've asked, always add this: Lord, you know what I need better than I do. Please let your will be done. That's the prayer of trust, knowing that He knows best. Give thanks. Before you end your prayer, take time to say thank you. Gratitude shifts our perspective. It reminds us of the goodness of God, His provision, and His faithfulness. It's easy to ask for things and forget to acknowledge the blessings already in our lives. Take a moment to reflect on what you're thankful for, whether it's the little things or the big things. And when you thank Him, do so from your heart. Don't just rush through it. Feel the weight of your gratitude and offer it sincerely. Thank you, Lord, for all you've done. Let's be honest for a moment. Sometimes we don't feel like praying. Life gets busy, distractions pile up, and we can lose sight of what's important. But when we're real with ourselves, it often comes down to this question: do I really love God? If we truly believe He's there, listening, and that He loves us beyond comprehension, what could be more important than spending time with Him? What better way to spend a few minutes on this tiny planet than to talk with the Creator of the universe, the King of Peace, the source of everything we need and desire? If you're struggling to pray, that's okay. We all do. But that's the beauty of prayer. It's a place where we can be honest, raw, and vulnerable. And in that honesty, God meets us. He's not waiting for perfect words, just for a willing heart. Try this for a week. Let it be your practice. And know that at some point, you'll hear Him. Deep in your soul, you'll feel Him. And that's where the journey begins. From there, prayer becomes less about talking to God and more about talking with God. It's a relationship. It's a conversation. It's a love affair. And it's the deepest, most transformative thing you can experience.